Welcome to the Reveal Report, ladies and gentlemen, on this Monday. Thank you for joining us. We are getting ready to get into a very interesting topic in just a few moments. I want to begin by thanking you all for being here. I've taken 2 weeks off or so for the summer, taking care of some personal things. So I appreciate all the patience, still the loving support, and everyone hanging in there. It's much appreciated. For everyone who's new here on the platform, thank you for watching the Reveal Report. What are we about? Well, I can describe it like this. We cover things that are macabre, supernatural, paranormal, occultic, things that not everyone else likes to discuss, but we're going to get into that. We bring on special guests. I have a co-host that's going to be joining me who's an author with many different books that you can find on Amazon. And we're going to get into something very interesting called Forbidden Places. Now, this is going to be a series, which means today we're going to cover a few forbidden places because there's so many. Next month, we'll do another episode with a few, and the month after that, and so forth. So every month, at least once, we're going to get this series called Forbidden Places. So keep your eyes open and get ready. It's going to be a great one. Guys, we got some new graphics, as you could see. More videos. We have more content and more special new guests that have never, ever appeared on the Reveal Report. So I've been doing some texting and messaging and contacting a few. So September is going to be a busy schedule. Stay tuned for that. With that being said, we cannot do the show without the help of our Patreon members who help us so much. So I thank you to all the Patreon and, of course, all the amazing people out there that help us with PayPal. So I want to give a special shout out to Steph S. and Lisa M. for being a great supporter on PayPal this week. Thank you so much. So every week when we do a show, these lovely ladies such as Steph and Lisa M really try to keep the show going for everybody as opposed to me staying exclusive to Patreon and Patreon only. So they help out. They want the show on YouTube. They want others to see it and share it. So we appreciate their love and support. So give them a thank you in the chat, everybody. All right. Without further ado, I think it's time to bring on my co-host so we get into this show. It is Miss Jessie Czebotar. Jessie, how are you?
Hey, good, George.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one as we get into forbidden places. Why are they forbidden? Well, those who apparently make the calls and make the decisions say that we cannot go there unless we are part of that 1%. And you'll see exactly what I mean, what I'm referring to with the very first location. And the one we're going to cover, this first location, is something interesting. It's Disney's secret club called Club 33. Now, this club is for those that are popular, that are aristocrats, royalty, celebrities, influencers, and those with a lot of money. It's a private club that makes you special when you go there. And there's a reason for it. We're going to get into it a little bit more, Jesse. I have a video I'd like to play. So everyone turn up your volume, take a listen, and then after this video, I'd like to get your feedback and we'll get into it. So here it is. Take a look.
Club 33 is an elusive haven for the world's elite, right in the middle of Disneyland. This VIP lounge, shrouded in secrecy, offers a discreet retreat for celebrities, business moguls, and high-profile individuals. Despite its exclusivity, the allure of this club has piqued the interest of Disney enthusiasts, unveiling a tale of opulence and mystery. Club 33 is not merely a dining venue, it's the epitome of sophistication and luxury. Established for those who value privacy and are willing to pay a hefty price for it, this fine dining establishment caters to renowned visitors. The club offers an escape from the crowds and provides an elegant ambiance. The roots of Club 33 trace back to Walt Disney's experiences in the 1964 World's Fair, where private lounges hosted by corporate sponsors left a lasting impression. General Electric, set to sponsor the Carousel of Progress, imposed a condition on Walt to construct a private lounge, eventually leading to the birth of Club 33 in May of 1967. The original club, adorned with antiques and original works of art, featured 2 dining rooms, the gallery and lounge alley, each showcasing a unique blend of elegance and charm. The main dining room, styled in First Empire decor, exuded the ambiance of the early 19th century. The Disney Room, or Trophy Room, housed an eclectic show with animatronic figures, providing a whimsical touch to the refined setting. In 2014, Club 33 underwent significant renovations, evolving into a modern and refined space. Chef Gloria Tay, appointed in 2022 as the first female chef de cuisine, leads a culinary team that delivers gourmet delights in a refreshed setting. The membership is a privilege bestowed upon a select few, with a wait list that's been mythically suggested to span over 15 years. The heavy price tag, initial investment, and annual dues also serve as a deterrent to all but the most affluent. Access to this elite club is not merely a financial matter. It requires an exclusive invitation, emphasizing fame, influence, and prestige, that usually asks for members to deposit $60,000 in initial invitation investment, along with the $25,000 in annual dues. On top of all that, membership to Club 33 is through invitation only.
Membership,
Yeah, interesting.
Club 33, is by invitation only. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Jess, and let's begin. So it is in Disney. It's Club 33. What are your thoughts on what you just saw?
Yeah, so interesting because there's a lot of allure to this. You know, the question is, was Disney connected to some secret societies? You know, the Luciferian Brotherhood, the Sovereign Military, the Rotary Club. We see a lot of occultic imagery in the videos, the movies that are produced. The first thing that I notice is in this bar scene, you know, you have that main seal or emblem that has the number 33 in it, which we know is also reminiscent of, you know, upper levels of secret societies, that's a degree of illumination. And with that, you get people who are very highly skilled in Solomonic magic. And, you know, it looks like it's in this shape. Is it a magic mirror? Is it reminiscent of an owl or Moloch? You know, do the little trellises on the side, the flowers, is that reminiscent of, you know, a maybe Egyptian or former deity or god or angelic being, maybe Apophis, snake gods? There's lots of imagery that we see in this, so it gets interesting when we're talking about it. We even see like the trellises outside have that rotary, the wheel symbol, which
Mhm.
is common in Solomonic magic as well as with the Rotarians, which are light side of the system. So there's so much imagery with that. But I'm curious. I want to know, like, that bar. It looks like you've got, you know, a first Solomonic pentacle symbol above the bar, a
Mhm.
sun ray kind of raised up, and then you've got this big, what looks like a mirror right smack dab in the middle.
Mhm.
And, you know, we've talked on former shows about the black mirrors and how those are used to contact spirits or contact the dead, maybe enter into a dimensional portal or
Mhm.
a dimension or a portal. So it's a very curious place.
Well, you know, there's a lot of dissecting. Again, this is definitely associated with the Freemasons with 33. We saw that the area of dining, one of them at least, had black and white checkerboards. So they're really
Yes.
pushing that. What I thought I would take from this specifically um, is the color. And I thought
The
we'd get,
gold or the blue
well,
or
let's get
both
into,
together?
let's go with the blue first, because the blue initially represents spirituality. It represents intuition, inspiration, inner peace. Okay, it's associated as well with sadness and depression, hence the blues. It's also associated to symbolize tranquility, freedom, loyalty, and it's a very powerful color. Now, the elite, I believe, use this because it has so much symbolism. Again, its color will also represent inspiration and wisdom. It could be a calming color and symbolize reliability. In the Catholic Church, it's important here, guys, the Virgin Mary is often depicted wearing blue to symbolize being full of grace and have, here it is, divine favor.
Mm,
And
wow.
that's the blue, Jesse. But if we touch on this is just one color. Now let's
That's
just
just one
go
color.
just one color. Now let's go with the gold, which gold represents, of course, energy and light in its most accurate form. They are best used, okay, when it comes to witchcraft, gold, in rituals focused on gaining power, influence, success, knowledge, and prosperity. Gold candle spiritual intentions are also associated with fortune and enlightenment. This is just off the damn colors alone, blue and gold. I mean, that's just off the colors that I went.
Right?
It's
Yeah, I mean, you gotta ask. Like, they've got the checkered floor. We know that that represents the area in Masonic lodges where they've got the reflection room underground. And, that means that you're going to have access to a lower area where they're going to have a table set up. They could have initiations,
Mhm.
things that they're going to reflect on. Uh, Maybe, they're those who are going to elevate above the level 33 are going to go there.
Again, guys, what we just dissected it. Of course, Jesse talking a little bit about the logo and what it could represent, its number and meaning. Me with the colors, and that's just off the cuff of what we could see, right? Who knows what else happens? But I say this for a reason. Nothing is coincidental in the occult. Everything has meaning, from the
Yeah.
shape to its color. So you look at it and think it looks great. That's great. It's a nice color, blue and
Yeah,
yellow, blue and gold.
it's like a good place to spend the night, have a nice dinner.
Listen carefully to what I said and the meaning behind it in the magical terminology and what it's used for. It's powerful. It's used in witchcraft, these specific colors.
Yeah.
This is not by accident. Everything is done for a reason. So even its color scheme comes into play. And that's just the occult again. Imagine us not even thinking about the occult. You would just walk up, see that, oh, that looks cool. What a great place. But $60,000 you have to deposit in a bank account. 60,000. Interesting. That's what they
Just to
want.
get in for a night.
It's a great number, isn't it?
Right? Wow.
Well, if it's 60,000 and they're called 33, I mean,
Right? Where do you think the 33s get their 60 degrees from?
right? So
Maybe is that where they have their ritual dinner? Who knows? Their
100%.
initiation into the next level.
So who knows what happens here? What they say publicly is it's a private club for fancy dinners and parties and events. But I'll let you go down the rabbit hole on Walt Disney, where it's situated, how it was built, where its funding came from. We won't get into that today, but I'm sure if you dig deep enough, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find something interesting, which would lead to why they would have a VIP private club. Again, it's a forbidden place for you and me, unless you're part of the 1%, the elite, who gets invited, because it's by invitation only. We move on to the next one, folks. Interesting. This one is interesting. We're going to get into this one. I think this one is quite intriguing. Folks, you've seen this one before. We've touched on this. Many shows and people have talked about this. This is Bohemian Grove. They say, Jesse, this is where all the elite come to play, come to meet, come to greet, hash out deals and politics and business. That's what they say. Well, there's a lot of videos out there. I found one that I thought was pretty in-depth. That's very good information. It's a few minutes long. So I want you guys to sit back, take a deep breath and relax, turn up your volume. We're going to play this, and then Jess will get your feedback on what you think of it, and we'll comment and talk about what we took away from this. Another forbidden place, Bohemian Grove. Here it is.
Now, let's go to a special place chosen for meetings by a special club. A secret club, of course. The very fact of the club's existence is no secret, but it is extremely difficult for outsiders to get into the place where its members meet. Only a couple of desperate adventurers managed to do it. This place is called Bohemian Grove, a 1,100-hectare, 2,700-acre site located in California. It belongs to a private men's club called the Bohemian Club. Since 1899, in mid-July, many of the world's most prominent men have spent a 2-week holiday here. The Bohemian Club consists exclusively of men. Only 4 women at the beginning of the 20th century were honored members of the club, but still with certain restrictions. So who are the members of this club, and what is so special about it? Why is it shrouded in so many layers of rumor, speculation, and prejudice? The club consists of bright artists and musicians, prominent business leaders, influential government officials, high-ranking media executives, and even former U.S. presidents. It seems one should be outstanding in something in order to become a member of the Bohemian Club. Well, yes, but that's not enough. We'll talk about membership in the club a little further on, but now let's return to its main location, Bohemian Grove. So what is going on here during those 2 weeks in July when prominent personalities come here from all over the world? Basically, it's a big high society gathering. Members can even invite guests to the Grove. Of course, not just anyone. The Bohemian Grove guest lists are strictly coordinated and carefully guarded against leaks. Well-known members of the club prefer not to give any comments. The symbol of the Grove since its founding of the club is a 9-meter, 30-foot owl made of concrete. It symbolizes knowledge and wisdom. The statue is mounted on a steel pedestal in front of the lake in the center of the grove. Since 1929, an annual cremation of care ceremony has taken place here. It is a theatrical performance in which some members of the club participate as actors. In the very first one, the spirit of care was burned. But the conspiracy theory says that this is not a performance, but a real sacrifice. Still, what is the mission of this club, and why do these people gather? Well, just like members of any other club, to chat with a close social circle. Of course, it can be easily assumed that it is in Bohemian Grove where the destiny of the world is shaped. And it would be naive to believe that participants discuss nothing more than the weather at these meetings. The motto of the Grove is "Weaving spiders come not here." This means that all problems and business deals should be left outside the club. Sounds kind of ironic, because some important political and business deals were made exactly here, at least according to leaks from club members themselves. The Grove is particularly famous for being the site of a meeting in 1942 where the Manhattan Project was planned, which later led to the atomic bomb creation. The members of the club do not even conceal this. On the contrary, they often tell this story to new members. By the way, to become a fully fledged member of the Bohemian Club, it is not enough to be just an outstanding personality. Sometimes one has to wait for a long time. The point is that the number of club members is limited. No more than 2,700 people. New members have to wait for years for a seat to become vacant. The waiting time has sometimes been as long as 15 years.
Wow.
15 years waiting list. They've only kept 2,700 people at a time. It's invitation only. We know about politicians. Many future presidents have been there, and so much more. We'll begin, Jessie, with your thoughts on what you just saw. What are your thoughts of Bohemian Grove?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. The first thing, going to the 2,700, when you break that down, you've got, basically 2, 3, and 2 2s left in that, which we know the 2 3 2 is commonly used by certain societies and groups in the system, or the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, other ones like that. One of the first things we see is the scene where they have the robes, and if that was, from that place, we see a whole bunch of circular symbols on the guy's robe. Those are actually what they call pentacles of Solomon, which are like used like seals. They're, keys, magical keys that are going to open certain doorways or dimensional access. We see some other imagery in there of, reminiscent of Solomonic magic and dimensional access, like the way they place the tables, kind of in that spiral form or a labyrinth format. All of that, is very purposeful, so that they can be moving magic and energy in there. It was, it's sad that we have a lot of political leaders who, have been seen there, and not surprising to me, but that we saw the ambassador for the Holy See, those individuals for our government were being questioned. U.S. presidents, Reagan, Clinton, Bush's, it just kind of tells you what kind of connection that they have. There's some other connections with there too. There's supposed stories that the person who runs Bohemian Grove is Somerset Belanoff, the, distant cousin of Queen Elizabeth, who owns this massive castle in Scotland, and, is in charge of the special chambers for the Satanic Council for the system. And then, with that though, too, a few years back, they actually temporarily closed, and on their official website, they redirected all communications to the Cathedral of Luxembourg, which actually is Notre Dame. And that was right before it burned down, that all of the communications for Bohemian Grove were being handled by Notre Dame.
Wow.
So I find that very curious, that we see some of that stuff. And I hear, within the system, it's common for them to put on plays, to, do mock rituals. And while they're doing those, whether during the day or at nighttime, there's always something that happens below ground where, the real rituals are happening below ground, or if they, the mock ritual happens during the day, then they're holding a real one at night. So I think it is a place where they really perform sacrifices. And, they've got that, idol to Molech right there. And we know scripture tells us that Molech is a deity that demands blood sacrifice. So I think that they really perform blood sacrifices there.
That's a powerful statement. And I want to, there's so much to dissect or decode here. Okay, let's begin first with the owl. All right, let's get into that first. They say that the owl is associated with good fortune, prosperity, and abundance. All right, it's a positive omen. Very important. The Romans, however, listen very carefully here, folks. The Romans used to believe that witches could turn themselves into owls. And in this form, they would come to, here we go, suck the blood of babies. Owls could suck the blood of babies. This is in Roman times. Interesting, the association with Molech, the owl, blood-sucking babies. In other cultures, owls were simply the messengers of the witches. Since the Middle Ages, many people have associated owls with death carries or bringers of bad news. So in one hand, they talk about wisdom, mystery, intelligence, and protection. But in witchcraft, it's It's something else, Jesse.
It's a
So,
bad omen. Yeah, like
Coleman,
I
now,
wonder how that works if if they're in using that image, it's like they're the ones getting the abundance or the blessing through the alliance with the spirit behind it, while everybody else in the area is, not benefiting from that.
so the number that stood out in my head was 27. Only 2,700 people allowed. So the mystical meaning of 27 is you're on the right path in your life spiritually, that all things will work out as they should. Interesting, that perspective. They should work out as they should. Let's go into the Bible. The number 27 is not a common number that's found in the Bible, but the meaning is the preaching of the gospel. Listen carefully. The preaching of the gospel. Whose gospel? So the preaching of the gospel is biblically associated with the number 27. I mention that because it's not the biblical gospel that they're preaching, it's their gospel. And as Aleister Crowley would say, as above, as so below, you're reversing everything. They've always reversed everything. So what's good is bad. So if they're going to preach one thing, they're going to preach the other. Again, the power number of 27, what its meaning, what it has to do with. There's so much to everything. We didn't even get into the color scheme of what they would have used for their logo and so forth. But this place is not for you or me. It is for the 1%. Again, invitation only. There's a 15-year waiting list, and usually nothing good comes from it. As you could see, they created the atomic bomb,
Yeah.
or those associated with, in Bohemian Grove. Now, the most popular conspiracy theorist was Alex Jones, who snuck in and caught video footage of the cremation of care ceremony, a mock ritual sacrifice. Or was it? I wasn't there. I can't comment on that, but it looked pretty dark and spooky. These people do very strange things in their spare time, don't they, Jesse?
They do. That is true.
And they believe in these ancient gods, these deities, which they seek power, protection, knowledge, and wisdom from, when it's as easy as one thing. And again, it's so simple because I was that guy who wanted all the books, who wanted to know the secrets, who wanted to be in, who wanted the rituals and all that. And there's so much to it. But the most powerful of them all, out of all the books, was always this one. There is more power in this one book than all magical books combined. And they know it. In fact, there are some occultic rituals that have me read from the Bible, including the Psalms, seeking protection from God before I communicate with demonic entities. Are you kidding me, Jesse?
That's exactly what they do. They seek the Lord before they communicate with the demonic entities. It's just like when we went down to Louisiana for that tour. There was all that energy that was flowing out the back of the church that the priests, we watched them go in, they started singing. We walked to the back where they were pointing, and what was back there, a Jesus statue. They were sending all that energy to a Jesus statue. Then it continued through the Jesus statue down the road. We followed it, and it went straight into the voodoo shop.
Yep.
And what was in the middle of that voodoo shop? It was a Baphomet statue. That's where they were sending all the energy.
I mean, it's bizarre, but true in their actions and what they do. The occult is everywhere in society, but I think we're at a place where the veil is being lifted.
Yes.
Shows like this and others trying to bring you the truth to help open your eyes to see the world in a different way, not as You there?
Yep, I'm back. Sorry.
Wow, that was crazy. We got
freezing.
knocked off for a moment. So nothing is what it seems in what they share with all of us. So we need to show everybody what it is about, from colors to numbers to everything all around it, because it is to their benefit. It is for their power, for their glory. And they want us to submit. And they'll use our combined energy. This is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. You withhold energy, and they'll use our combined energy for manifestation, for their desires, for their wills and their power. And they just want you to give it up. That's how much energy and power you hold within you. Can you believe that? This guy says it right. Stealing loosh. We have to do a show on loosh, but loose energy is very important. It's key, and it's very ancient and old. But I discussed it, Jesse. You know what I'm talking about. It's currency, guys. Your soul is money. In our world, we use money. In the spiritual realm, it's your soul. So these people that are doing deals with these ancient deities are not exchanging money. There's promises made. Your soul, your energy is currency for them. So that's what they surrender and give up out of your own free will. And in return, they receive all kinds of other great things, which they think is great, which is power and glory and strength and money. But with all that they receive, there's also that universal law that you need to follow. They say that, just so you know, they never have to pay for their sins, but that's not true, is it?
Yeah.
It's a crazy time that we live in, folks. It's a crazy time. That is Bohemian Grove. It's another forbidden place that you are not allowed to enter. But we'll go along. This one I think you're going to find interesting because it has to do with a place that's very old. I'm going to show you this picture and see if you guys know what that is. Give you a second. Take a good look. That dome, that is the Church of Our Lady of Mary of Zion. This church is in Ethiopia. And this area, folks, is where it's said to have this. The Ark of the Covenant. I've done tons of research on where this ark could be. And there was a classic tomb raider, as you could say, an archaeologist who went looking, claimed to have found it, but never showed it to witnesses, ever. I found that to be strange. Why he didn't show it or brought witnesses to see it, or he claimed he saw it. However, there is more information based on the Ark of the Covenant in a place that is forbidden to us in Ethiopia. There's almost no footage on this, but somebody decided to go out there and try and get some clips. So I have a video clip. I'm going to share it with everybody. Yeah, give me your thoughts on it. Turn up your volume. Here it is.
Right there is the church that claims to hold the original Ark of the Covenant. This is the building where the Ethiopian Ark of the Covenant is kept. We wanted to enter the complex, but we were told that no one gets to go beyond the blue gates. However, we were friendly, and then they allowed us to go in. We found evidence here that these churches were built on an ancient site, for the relics of the Ascumite Empire were buried everywhere. Then we saw the church where the ark is located. Just behind these gates, the Ethiopian Ark of the Covenant is stored.
Just behind me is the church where they say the Ark of the Covenant is kept, just there.
But no one is allowed in, and the priest protecting the ark is forbidden to leave. His destiny is to die behind these gates. He is both the guardian of the ark and its prisoner.
Is this the last resting place, the Ark of the Covenant? Well, for the people who have been here for so long, for the Orthodox Christians, they truly believe the original Ark of the Covenant is there.
Once again, we had come close to the ark, but not close enough.
Interesting.
Let's begin. Again, Ron Wyatt, who I've done some research on, has claimed that he found it, but he never brought witnesses in. There isn't video footage. There's nothing, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's bizarre. I find it strange. Something of that caliber and power is you want to share that with the world, because that's the idea, before they make it disappear, before they cover it up. Obviously, this is your proof. That video footage, that witness will testify to that, so that gives you the credibility. Now it even says that there are people that work there in Israel who never even gave him permits. He never even had permits that went there. So I don't know if I'm going with that story with Ron on that particular location that he claims.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's further stuff to that. There's, theories that, how did the ark, or how did a temple even get there in the first place in Ethiopia? And that stems back to King Solomon's relationship with the Queen of Sheba. And there are scrolls that were found with the Dead Sea Scrolls that give credence that this church, or this temple, that there was a second temple of Israel that was in Ethiopia. And the priests that were there had written letters to the temple in Jerusalem asking for help, because they had a whole bunch of the Ethiopians going against them every time they were sacrificing sheep, because the sheep is the Ethiopian god and Egyptian god Canute. So they were sacrificing the Egyptian god, which wasn't going well for them. And so there's evidence that through this Ethiopian second temple, that is how the ark supposedly got there, that was among the treasures that King Solomon gave to Queen Bathsheba. But what's even more interesting is the estate of the land. We see a lot of devastation. We see a lot of drought, a lot of famine, a lot of poverty. So, does the state of the land, show us what really is going on there?
You're referring to Ethiopia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where the Ark of the Covenant would be.
Mm-hmm.
We know that if it was there with God's blessing, right, the land was supposed to be blessed as well, because the presence of the Lord was there.
Correct. So yeah, you're right. A lot of famine, not a lot going on. It's really bad there. Ethiopia's a lot of poverty and starvation. It's not good. How interesting though that out of every color they could have used as the gates, and they decided to do it blue.
Right.
But then again, I don't think that's in a negative connotation. I think that again represents, royalty and so forth. Going back to what I said earlier. But you see, nothing is for the sake of nothing. Everything is done for a reason, including the color of the fence. I truly believe that. In all aspects, there is meaning. You have to read between the lines on that meaning, folks. So, do you believe, Jesse, that the Ark of the Covenant is at the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Ethiopia?
I do not believe it's there. I think it's somewhere else.
Well, then I'm going to have to ask you a question that everybody in the chat is going to ask. Where do you think it is? Your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting because there's stories also. There's another, this, I think it was the same archaeologist who later claimed that it was under Golgotha, that was how it, that as Jesus was crucified, blood dripped down, and the actual blood of Christ fell on the mercy seat. So I don't know. Could it be there too? Is it somewhere else? We know in the book of Revelations, it tells us there will be a time where men will no longer seek or say to one another, where is the Ark of the Covenant? So is it just going to quietly disappear and nobody's ever going to look for it again? I don't know.
Again, I don't think it's where Ron says it is, because there's no proof of it whatsoever, unfortunately. But funny, for the scrolls and everything else, he had camera crews, he had witnesses, his 2 kids.
Right.
It was all there for that, but it wasn't for the covenant. So I'm sorry, guys. Some of you may believe it. I don't believe it. You talked about that place where Jesus was crucified.
Yes, Golgotha.
And that somehow the blood could drip to the ark. We talked about that. I think that was a story that went on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a possibility that maybe that's where it is. But if it is, what a connection that would be.
Right. That would be a powerful connection.
Same
the
place.
very blood of Christ would, fall onto the mercy seat.
And that would be placed there. But who had it before would have been King Solomon. So how did it get there?
Right. I think the stories are that it was hidden in the caves, and there's cave systems down there,
Now, why would there be caves in those ancient times back then? Why would they need caves, Jessie?
I don't know, but they hid a lot. We know that you hear it in the older versions of the Old Testament with when Jezebel was going after Elijah the prophet for killing all the prophets of Baal. We hear that a lot of the prophets of God had to hide in those cave systems. So we know that there's cave systems there. Whether they're natural, whether they were built, we don't know that for sure. But
I mean, no matter what we uncover here, there's always going to be more.
Yeah.
So
we should do that. We should do a show, Forbidden Places, the caves and the pools, the pools and the springs of Israel.
Okay, let's put it on the next one. Next month, Forbidden Places. One of the locations will be there. And we'll get into that, because I think that's important that we cover that and try to share some knowledge with everybody who hasn't had the time to do the research in the books or has all that stuff. But we'll get into it. Another location that is forbidden for us. Only part of the 1% could go. I mean, less than 1%. Not even. I don't even the elite.
I think it's less than 1%.
I think it's less than 1%.
Maybe 1%.
They said one person on earth. Jesse, here's what he said. One person, which is the priest, is the only one allowed in that room, and he dies in that room. That's it. No one's allowed to go in there. How insane. That's crazy, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, imagine if you're that priest and you go in there and there's nothing in there. I mean, do they have nothing in there if it's really not there? Or do they have a fake Ark of the Covenant, but he can never come back out to tell people
correct
it's not there?
Yeah. Crazy stuff. There you have it, folks. All right. The last location that we're going to discuss. Powerful place, folks. Take a good look. See if you recognize that, because that right there is the Chateau des Amerois. I'm not French, so I'm not going to pronounce it how they pronounce it, but it's pretty close.
Amerois.
The
Amerois.
Amerois. Is that what it is? Amerois. So the church of Amerois, which is the location apparently associated with the Mothers of Darkness. Another forbidden place. You're not allowed to go there, Jesse. I'm not allowed to go there. Maybe if you talk to some people you might know, they might let you in for dinner. Possibly they want to have a meeting with you, talk to you. But for those who don't know, I have a video to share with everybody. So turn up your volume, take a look. This is another forbidden place. Here it is.
The castle is better known by its English name, the Mothers of Darkness. This name was given to it by researchers who have claimed that a coven of elite witches, known as the Mothers of Darkness, convene here for a diaspora of rituals. They are claimed to be adept witches who come from extremely old satanic families, and they convene on certain dates and times to perform macabre rituals that would disgust and terrify anyone who dared to witness them. Although it's easy to demonize these women, we also have to think of how they got here. They are said to be the subjects of satanic ritual abuse from an extremely early age. These rituals often include physical, sexual, and mental abuse, all of which result in a dissociative disorder which allows them to be easily programmable. As they grow older, they too will participate in the ritual abuse of the young, just as they experienced, and the cycle begins anew. The dissociative disorder they typically develop is multiple personality disorder, as a result of the abuse fracturing their minds very early. They assume the identities of numerous people, each one serving their own function. When they become women and are ready to be fully initiated as witches within the coven, the ritual is said to be performed at Chateau Amerois. However, this isn't the only reason the castle is cursed. Given its owners and its location, it has also been rumored to be one of the many sites of the Illuminati's rituals. One such ritual is known as Eyes Wide Shut. This sickening ritual typically involves the abuse of children and is videotaped as potential blackmail in case anyone dares speak about it. The corruption of a child is the corruption of innocence, and they do this in order to please their god, Baal. But soon, these alleged rumors would be proven to be reality.
A lot of rumors.
So, where shall we begin, Jesse? What were your thoughts on the information? I thought it sounded pretty accurate.
I would challenge that just a bit, but I think that it is. I think what do we get out of that? We know that this system that we're talking about, or this 1% of elites, we know that they do come from, distinct bloodline families, that this is a generational system that is engaged in all forms of, witchery, witchcraft, sorcery, divination, all sorts of evil that they engage in. And do they have places where they perform this evil? They do. And, I think what we see is that, this system can be broken down both quadrantly, meaning, that there's places internationally where these individuals will gather on certain times of the year. I think, a lot of those international places you're going to see, the times a year where people are going to gather for those rituals are going to be, Christmas, Easter, your equinoxes, Halloween is a big one. But, that chateau is much more than that. It's not just a place where they're going to gather for rituals. That's a place where they're going to gather to do training, as they brought out in the video, for those that are higher level in the system, particularly the females that are, being trained to be sisters of light or brides of Satan or grand high priestesses. Mothers of darkness are all trained in that area. So, a lot of your high level women in the system who are going to be chosen as quadrant leaders, I don't think it depends on which quadrant. All of the quadrant leaders are have their stint there, I would say. But, it's interesting that, they keep it as a place that is highly guarded. And why is that? It's because there's rituals that include, blood or human sacrifice that take place there on that land, and they're going to protect that, um, so in hopes that they won't get found out. But we know what Scripture says, that the Lord says all evil shall be brought to the surface, that all things will be laid naked and bare. The Lord even goes a step farther. He gets pretty harsh um, in Scripture and says, literally that he will lift up their skirts and show their nakedness to the world. That there's nothing that's going to remain hidden. The Lord's going to bring it all forth.
They say there's 5 mothers of darkness. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So there's 5 of them, and they're all, I would take it, bloodline, ancestral. I don't believe that, a lot that I learned, Jesse, but you cannot just be somebody to get in.
No, they're very selective, like all of those high-level positions. They're watching signs, seasons, times, astrological things, prophecies throughout the generations. They're looking for certain people who can fulfill those positions, as well as make alliances and covenants with the demonic principalities that they work with in that system.
Do you believe that this castle holds these type of rituals, blood sacrifices? Do you believe that this is the location where some of the elites, maybe not all of them, but a few, will meet in order to discuss where they're going, what they're doing, what their plans are? Is that something that you think actually happens at this castle? I think Jesse might have froze for a moment, so just bear with us, everybody, because I think there you are, Jess.
We're back, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, do you think that castle is a place where some of the elites show up to discuss or get information from these witches, these mothers of darkness?
Let me see if I'm gone again here.
Freezing there a little bit. So hold on a second, ladies
there
and
we
gentlemen. There. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I did. I do believe, yes, I believe, and that is a place where you're going to have your high-level individuals in the system both meet, as well as to do specific training for high-level individuals in the system, as well as, is that a place that they're going to rotate in their ritual cycles 4 times a year? That is, they have timed rituals that they'll do there.
Do you know why the number 5? Why did they choose 5 specifically? Is there a particular reason, or is it just due to the bloodline or the power of the magic?
No, I think it goes very much with different seals and authorities. You have the base Solomonic contract, which is held between the principalities Abaddon, Ashtaroth, Leviathan, Samael, and Asmodai. So that base contract is held with 5. So that's one of the reasons that they choose that number.
Can you repeat that one more time? It on 5 because of who they worship. If you could repeat that one more time.
Correct. Yeah. So they have the Solomonic base contract is threefold, usually represented by 3 colonnades or columns, Roman columns, or 3 lines. That center line often will be seen as a straight line with 2 cross lines in it, representing the contract or the relationships between the heads of the system and the principalities Abaddon, Ashtaroth, Leviathan, Samael, and Asmodai.
There you go. The 5 entities.
Which
how interesting.
Solomonic magic.
How interesting. How interesting. There it is, folks. There's one of the reasons why they have specifically those 5. It's crazy. It's crazy that this exists and we're talking about this. Isn't this not the location where they also discussed the 1,000 points of light or something of that nature?
You do have a place similar to that there, but
that's not the location.
in Castle Neuschwanstein in Germany as well.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So this castle, it's again hard to get to, you can't get in. The new owner doesn't even hardly share pictures, like one picture, a lot from the outside, intense security cameras surrounding it, high-tech cameras as well. It's a place again that it's a fortress, and it is a forbidden place. And I believe that wraps up our series for today. We're going to return next month with the Forbidden Places, 5 other locations, and we're going to get into it. And I hope you guys took a lot from this show. Maybe go back and look at it and get a few things from it, because it's very, very important. Now, Jess, after this, we're going to do an after show, a Q&A on my Patreon, and all are invited to join. We're going to have a Q&A, which gives you the opportunity to ask questions. I know there's a few here today that wanted to ask things, but that's all on the Q&A portion, which is the after show on Patreon. So join. It's as small as $5 a month if you'd like, and we get a lot of content going to be going up this month and next month. Jessie, great show. Before we sign off, anything you'd like to say in closing?
Yeah, you can find me on kingdomlivingwithjessie.com, and on there you can find all my courses, my books. Some of the things we were talking about tonight with the symbols, the contracts, the different, breakdowns of the system and, positions, titles at the upper levels. All of those you can find on the kingdomlivingwithjessie.com under my Decode courses. So I encourage you to check those out.
Appreciate it. And guys, I want to thank every single one of you for watching this program, watching the show. We are back this Friday. Wow, you're going to get 2 this week. So today and Friday. But what is going to be the topic? The topic is going to be words and spells, and the spells of words and how we speak it and what we say it and its true meaning. So you don't want to miss this episode, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time this Friday, live on YouTube. Myself and Jessie, we are going to get into it. It's going to be a very powerful show. Maybe even another special guest just might drop in for that. I want to thank a few people for helping us out today. Shout out going out to Paula, Steph S, and Lisa M for being a great supporter on PayPal this week. Thank you so much for dropping in. And if you guys love this episode, you love the show, you love the content, you love what we talk about, please show a little love and support. Go to paypal.me/George Iceman. Anything you could do goes a long way with helping this show stay on this platform. So I thank you for your love and support. Again, words are spells, and we'll discuss spells and the meaning behind words this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube. We're going to our after show right after this. Hope you guys enjoy. Jessie, anything you want to say before we say goodnight?
No, thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys in the after show.
Thanks for watching, everybody. God bless, and good night.